Hey, how's it going? It's Neil from the King Realty Group. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks again for joining us. So obviously we're in July now. We're actually reviewing June 2020, the Toronto Real Estate Board stats and how it compares to June 2019. We talk a little bit of what's been going on obviously year to date here in 2020 and our outlook as to what's going to happen in the coming months. But we also take a look at our housing average price points and what's going on with our months of inventory. Are we in a seller market, balanced market? Are we in a buyer market? And those are the things we're looking at in this video here. Stay tuned. All right, guys, thanks again for joining us. Of course, we are reviewing the Toronto Real Estate Board stats. We're really just trying to get an idea of what's going on with our real estate markets, how are our prices doing, how's the market? That's the question the golden question that everyone's been asking me over the last couple of months. Obviously, there's been a lot of confusion, and really depending on where you live in the city, you could be getting a different experience, right? So condos has been king for the last few years, and they're a little bit softer now. Low-rise homes are obviously very in demand, especially the entry-level price points. There's multiple offers all over the city. So let's take a look at the average price points, guys. Let's take a look at first our overall GTA average price. We're at $930,869. That's actually up 11.9% from June 2019. That's most people would say that that's crazy, but really the pent-up demand that we've had over the last couple of months is really showing itself now, right? The buyers are getting a little bit more confident, and there's a bit more. There's a lot more activity happening here in the month of June, and this is why we're seeing these type of numbers. Increase of 11.9% over June 2019, a big increase. This is actually an all-time high in the Toronto Real Estate Board. The last all-time high we had was back in 2017 at 918,000, but here in June 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, we have an all-time high in the Toronto Real Estate Board, believe it or not. Let's take a look at detached homes though. We're at 1,127,419. That's up 10.8% from last year. Semi-detached is at 929,138, up 11.9. We also have townhouses at 729,045, up 9.8%. And even condos are even close to that 10% mark here at 631,704, up 7%. We've been really used to, if you've been following these videos and you watch them and you are at least looking at the emails that I send every single month to see what our average price point is, you notice that over the last few years, last couple years at least, condos have been king. They've been actually on a month-to-month basis or year-to-year basis. They've been they had a higher rising price point than other housing types. And you see that this month and maybe over the last couple of months in 2020, we've seen that kind of shift. We've seen that low-rise homes are now taking a little bit more piece of the pie. There's more sales in low-rise, non-condo sales than there is condos, and we're now even seeing in our stats that our low-rise homes are increasing in price at a faster pace than condos are as well. So that's very interesting to note, and we're obviously going to see how that plays out over the next couple of months. We got investors talking about condos. We're looking at condos on the market. If we're finding good price points, you might even be able to break even on a 20% down if you're an investor, which is very interesting in the city of Toronto. Obviously, very strong growth here. So those are my notes really when it comes to the GTA price point and other housing types. Let's take a look at the sales. We've kind of recovered in sales. We have 8,701 sales. That's actually just down 1.4% from June 2019. That's actually incredible because over the last couple months, and when we looked at April, for example, when we were actually down about 65% sales from April of 2019 to April 2020, now all of a sudden we're only down 1.4%. Basically what we're saying here is in the month of June, our sales volume was basically the same as what it was in 2019, which is incredible because we had a couple months here, April and May, maybe more so April, where we had a really huge lull. The sales were down to 2,000, right? Normally on a month-to-month basis, we have about 8,000 sales, give or take, some months more than others. But especially in the spring market, we normally see that. Well, there you have it. In 2020, June, we had 8,700 sales, which is almost mirrors what we got in 2019. And it's almost like, just like stock market, our real estate market here in the GTA has experienced that V-shaped recovery in terms of sales anyways. We had, a normal amount of sales. We went down like almost to the bottom, and we've kind of just gone right back to where we were prior to this whole pandemic. We're not even out of it yet, but we've had some strong sales. So that's that. Let's take a look at active listings. This is a new stat that I've been throwing out there. Just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on, our active listings are still down 28%, 28.8% from June 2019. So this is interesting when we kind of compare those two things. Our sales are right back to normal, but our active listings are still down about 30%. That kind of gives us a tight environment in our marketplace. This is where there's less inventory. Really, this is a supply and demand story, right? There's more demand. Sales are happening. We're almost to a normal level of sales, but the supply is still kind of down from where we were last year. We're still 30% almost down from where we were last year at active listings, when we compare June 2020 to June 2019. So that's interesting to know because it's what we're seeing out there. The inventory is tight and we're seeing multiple offers. That makes sense. There's less inventory, more demand, right? Okay, let's take a look at months of inventory because this plays along with the same story. It's a great segue into what I just said. Let's take a look at Toronto. Well, we look at all the major, markets, regions within the GTA, and we'll look at our overall. So in Toronto, we're at 1.8 months of inventory, 1.88 months of inventory. That's technically speaking more so in the seller side. We're in a seller's market. Depending on what you're selling in the city of Toronto, you might be experiencing a bidding war. If you're a buyer trying to get into the Toronto market, again, depending on what you're buying, you might be experiencing bidding wars. Durham, same sort of thing, even stronger, right? We're at 1 month of inventory, 1 month of inventory. If there is absolutely no changes in our marketplace, all our Durham inventory would be completely sold out in 1 month if there was no new listings on the market. That's really what that means. That's really hot, right? That's obviously on the seller side for sure. Now we've had 2 listings over the last little while. We've had one of them had 11 offers. The other one just had 17 offers not too long ago, a few days ago. Just to give you an idea, and this is in Durham as well. So it makes sense that they have 1 month of inventory and that listings are just selling like quickly, especially the low rise entry level stuff. Peel region, we're at 1.31 months of inventory. Again, still technically on the seller side. And yeah, buyers are gobbling this stuff up, right? We need a little bit more supply really to keep things a little bit more balanced. In York region, we're at 2.26 months of inventory. That's crazy because only a few years back, we were at 5 months of inventory, almost 6 months of inventory, heavily sided on the buyer's favor. But people in York region are even experiencing a tighter marketplace as well. Overall in the GTA, we're at 1.61 months of inventory. Technically speaking, more so on the seller side. That's really what we're trying to find out with that number. Again, having said that, doesn't mean that everybody is experiencing the same thing. Your micro market, which is the intersection you live in, the micro community that you live in within the city that you're in, within the province that you're in, obviously, those differ. When you go to community, you could be experiencing kind of a different activity. And so this is when I would tell you, if you want to know exactly what's going on in your marketplace, where your neighborhood is, your neighbors, you reach out, right? Because we can take a look at these micro markets and really give you a better lens and better clarity as to what's going on. So I'll leave that up to you. So that's the story of June, guys. There's a couple of things we want to point out here in terms of key highlights. First off is that our average price point went above our 5-year average price trend line. So this happened back in February of 2020, but again now in June, because our average price over the last 5 years is about 8.2%. In June, we hit over that, right? We had 11.9% increase year over year. That's an interesting stat to kind of look at. It just shows that our marketplace is definitely very strong right now in June, and we actually did see that continue into the month of July. So obviously another video coming up, more information every single month when it comes to the stats. Not just that, guys, we saw sales rebound. So I saw this earlier. We were only down 1% we were only down 1% from June 2019 when it comes to sales, still around that 8,700 mark, which is basically normal. This is what this is the type of volume we're used to seeing in a month of June. And it's just interesting to note that we've kind of rebounded back to normal from our April, May lulls, which is very interesting. Buyer confidence has improved. So, as I was saying though, buyer confidence has improved. New listings are on the rise, and borrowing costs are at record lows. So obviously, the government had to keep our interest rates down so that people can still consume, people can still go out and buy, people can still to encourage spending, so that our economy can move a bit. Inherently, though, that's obviously caused our mortgage rates to go down. And over the last few months, we've helped a lot of buyers get closer to 2% rates. Believe it or not, under 2.5. So that is definitely happening. Accumulated pent-up demand, obviously over the last couple of months, usually we have a very strong spring here in the GTA, but spring evaporated, right? Because we had this pandemic and we had health concerns and we had to stay home. So April, May were very, very slow in comparison to other years. So summer likely is going to be our 2020 spring in terms of real estate, and that's what's been going on. July been nonstop. August doesn't look like it's slowing down at all, and that pent-up demand is likely going to have positive growth in this 2020 summer and into the fall as well. So although we've had a 2% growth in new listings year over year, meaning that compared to June of 2019, we've had a little bit more new listings this month. Still, we have an inventory crunch, right? So our inventory, month of inventory is down to 1.61 months of inventory. We're on the seller side here. We need to see a bit more listings come up on the market, in the marketplace here in the GTA, so that we can have a little bit more of a balance. I know that some of the sales that we've had as of late in a certain Durham pocket, there's not much inventory there, and so we're having plus 10 offers on these properties basically every single time because there's not much there for people. Having said that, guys, we've reached an all-time high in June, which was very interesting. 930,000, just a bit over 930,000. This is an all-time record high for the Toronto Real Estate Board in 2020 during a pandemic. So it's crazy to think, but I'm not making this stuff up, guys. This is 100% fact, and I'm just giving you what I see, right? And our last high was in April 2017, so it took us about 3 years to come back into recovery mode. After 2017, we had a bit of a lull, right? We had housing policies that were implemented by the Ontario government that basically, it was good because it really slowed down an unsustainable growth that we were having in the GTA. Our prices had dipped though, right? Even some low-rise homes could be that they're only till 2020 have they gotten back to the prices that people paid in 2017. But that happened in 2020, believe it or not. At the end of the day, another stat that might show you how strong our year has been regardless of what's going on with COVID is the fact that we're up 9.9% on our year-to-date stat versus in 2020 versus 2019. So to date, we were actually up about 10% higher in the year than we were in 2019. So just a couple of angles that I wanted to show you. I just wanted to give you an idea, give you a picture of what's going on here in our marketplace. This is real facts, guys. I'm really just showing you the numbers that I see every single month. And obviously we can kind of we can get a better understanding of what's going on in our environment looking at these numbers. And I think what happened in June really is something that's been surprising, not just to me, but basically a lot of people who are in the know about what's going on in our numbers and our real estate market. At the end of the day, though, one thing that I want to leave with you is this. We are in a place. Why has activity come back to kind of normal levels? I think it's because Ontario, specifically Canada, has really contained this virus a lot better than other places. I'm sure if you've gotten to this video, to the end of this video, I'm sure you can agree with what I'm saying right now. And so our Canadian brand, our Ontario brand, our GTA brand is gonna actually become a lot more attractive in the years to come because people are gonna be looking around. Canada, Ontario, GTA was always a great place to move to. Myself, my family have come here many years back, escaping what we came from and at the end of the day looking for more opportunity. And I think people are going to see that Ontario, Canada has contained this virus, has been able to assess the situation and be able to employ our health practitioners and also just overall get on top of this. Everyone's really kind of on board and really trying to help out. And I think that's going to really make our brand a lot more attractive. It's gonna cause a lot of people to come into our communities. And I think that this is why we're feeling a little bit better in terms of going out, in terms of being able to kind of just move on with life. And this is what we're seeing. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on in the last couple months. And if you're a buyer, if you're a seller out there right now, and you're a little bit confused, you want a little bit more clarity, we have obviously the tools to be able to look at different micro markets depending on where you're looking, to sell. If you're an owner of a home and you want to have a better idea what's going on in your community, let's set up a call, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I can take a look at specifically our data, what happened in the last 90 days, and give you a better idea of where you stand today and what you need to do to be successful in this real estate market. So I'm thanking you guys again for joining us, and we're going to do this obviously again